Okay. We had 1.5. We're following the same rules, but the goal, we always want it in addition format because we know the rules for addition. For addition, if they're the same, we add, and if the signs are different, we subtract. So that's the goal, is to make sure that the form we're in addition. And when we check here, we're subtracting. It's the same steps as yesterday. When we have subtraction, we keep the first, change the sign, do the opposite. So we keep -4 and 1/7 the same. We change subtraction to addition, and then we do the opposite. So the opposite of 5/7 is based off the signage. Is this going to be an adding or subtracting?
Adding.
Because the signs are the same, we have a negative and a negative. That means they're the same, so that means we're going to end up adding the numbers together. But before we can do that, we have some fraction stuff we have to remember. What are we going to have to do first with our fractions? We got to make it improper because we want fractions with fractions, and this is a mixed number right now. So to make it improper, we got to go around the world, multiply and add. 4 times 7, 28 plus 1 is 29. 7, keep the negative. What else do we have to remember about adding fractions? You don't add the bottom. What else? This already has it, so we don't have to change anything. But what do you have to check for? Common denominators. Our denominators are already common, so we don't have to worry about it. And so now we can just finish it out. We're going to add 29 plus 5, 34 over 7. What's the sign going to be? Negative. I'm not going to worry about converting them. We're just going to leave it like that for now. All right, number 1.
Okay, if we did it before,
We got to keep, change, opposite. Keep the first.
6 seconds.
Change subtraction to
Addition.
And the opposite of -1/3 is? Well, we just have a positive and a positive, which is old school adding. So that gives me 2/3. We've got subtraction. We don't want it as subtraction. So we're going to change it to addition. To change it to addition, we have to keep, change, do the opposite. So keep -3 and 1/3. Change subtraction to addition. Beautiful. Before we can go any further, what do we have to do? We have to convert. We've got a mixed number and a regular fraction. So we got to go around the world and convert. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is. So we get -10/3 plus -2/3. Negative and a negative.
Equals
negative.
negative.
And what is 12/3 equal to? -4. 12 divided by 3 gives me 4 wholes. We've got subtraction. We don't want it in the form of subtraction. We want it in addition, so we got to keep, change, do the opposite. We got all the fraction things here we got to do. We got to convert. So ends up 11. How do we make it a fraction?
4 over 1.
Okay, now what?
then you gotta turn
Yeah,
multiply
common
4 by
denominator.
2.
You're gonna have a common denominator. So multiply it by 2, whatever you do to the bottom, you gotta do to the top. So we end up with 8 halves, adding negative 11 halves. Signs are different. So if they're different, we have to. So 11 take away 8 is 3, negative 3 halves. If you convert that, it would be negative 1.5.
But I thought we were adding. I thought we were adding.
We are, but in the rules of adding, you have a positive and a negative. So if you have two different signs, you gotta subtract the numbers. Remember?
Oh, that was
Same signs add, different signs subtract. Same thing goes with decimals. We're not gonna sit here and work out all the decimals because you should know how to do decimals. The number one thing when we add and subtract decimals, what do you have to do to the decimals? Line them up. Okay? We're just gonna rewrite this and set it up to solve, but we're not gonna solve it because you already know how to do this. Is that okay? Okay. So we have subtraction. What do we want it as? So we gotta keep looking at this problem. Are you gonna add or subtract?
Subtract.
Why are we subtracting?
Because of difference in cost.
We're gonna subtract, and is our answer gonna be positive or negative? Why is it negative?
Because the negative number is
We're gonna subtract and get a negative answer. Good. Number 4, what would it look like after we change it to addition? What's it gonna look like as an addition sentence? Eli?
2 tenths, plus negative 3 tenths.
Good.
Negative 6.
Alright, Emily. Are we gonna add the numbers together or subtract the numbers based off the signs? Add. Why? We have the same sign, so we're gonna add. Gracie, is our answer gonna be positive or negative? Why? Not just because the negative's bigger. They're both negative, right? So if they're both negative, your answer is going to be negative. I got you. I got you. Caleb, what would it look like when we change it to addition?
The addition sign changes and 8.8 is a positive number.
So, what, like, tell me how I would write it.
Negative 8.8 plus 8.8.
And just looking at this, what is the answer going to be?
0.
There are 0 pairs, so. Kason, what would this look like as an addition problem? .05. We're gonna add or subtract this? We're gonna add. Is it gonna be a positive or a negative? There you go. Alright, we got this. Okay. This one right here, we had one similar to our pretest. If we're gonna have one on the pretest this time. So it'll be on the test. And when's our test? Friday. Dad, got it. Oh, minions.
I won't be here Friday.
It's okay, you'll make it up Monday.
I mean, I'm leaving this school.
I'll just send it to your new teacher. What? Okay, I would not tackle this whole problem at one time. I would break it up. I would do that part first. So we're just going to focus on that part first. So I have negative 1 3/8 minus 8 1/2. What's going to be my first step here? Change opposite. Keep this. Change to addition. Do the opposite. What else am I going to have to do here?
And
Alright, 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11, so negative 11/8, plus 16 17. Okay, now what? What is our common denominator going to be? So we're going to multiply by 4, top and bottom. 17 times 4. So we've got negative 68 over 8. I'm going to add or subtract? I'm going to add because our signs are the same. So 11 plus 68
is 79 over 8.
So we have negative 79 over 8. We're done with that part. So now we can bring this part down. So minus negative 6 and 7 8. So now we're just focusing on this part right here. What do we have to do? Okay, we could convert. We can go ahead and convert. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 7, 5.
I need a calculator.
No, you don't.
The process with.
Alright, this is what do we have to do here?
Keep change opposite.
Keep change opposite. The negative 79 over 8. Keep change opposite. Are our signs same or different?
Different.
What do we do if they're different?
What?
So 79 minus 55.
What?
Positive or negative? Which one's bigger, 79 or 55? What's 24 divided 8? Whew, all that work for negative 3. Fun stuff, right?
No, I mean, you subtract.
The biggest issue with this is just it takes several steps. None of those steps are difficult. You already know how to do all of those steps. Can you do this problem in your head? No. Okay.
Fancy doing on paper.
No. Have you had your calculator the whole time for this chapter? Have you had your calculator for any of these notes?
I have to do this paper.
I mean, he has, but was he supposed to?
Shoot, you.
I'll try to check one.
Get your mouth.
Okay. We could do the same thing with decimals.
Got one more paper after this page after this.
Looking at this here, decimals may be easy in fractions because there's not so much conversion. You're going to take it step by step. We're going to do that part first. Are we subtracting any negatives here? Can we just do regular subtraction for this? So 7.8 take away 3.3 can do what? 4.5. Okay? Now we're going to take and bring this part down. So minus negative 1.2. Am I going to have to do some changing here? Yeah, because now I've got some negatives that are involved. So I'm going to keep, change, opposite. Alright, so 4.5 plus 1.2 gives me 5.7. Now I bring down plus 4.3. 5.7, 4.3, which is just, that one wasn't as hard, right? You just have to take it step by step by step. This is the part that I really need us to understand because on your pretest, we all struggled with this pretty much. And we talked about it yesterday. We're finding the distance between two numbers on a number line. When we're finding the distance between two numbers, what is that called?
Absolute. Is it additive? Opposites.
Go back and look in your notes. We were talking about the distance or the spread.
Absolute value.
It's called what?
Range.
Range.
Oh.
Range tells us how far apart numbers are. Now because we are talking, so this is the range. You will have these on your test, so you might want to make notes so that you know. But because we're talking about distance, distance is always positive. So my answer has to be positive, which means we're going to be working with absolute value. So we're taking the range and absolute value at the same time. Okay? So I've got negative 3 and 9. Well, how do I find range? What's the formula for range?
Max minus min.
Right. Max, you should remember that. Max
Yeah, max minus me.
minus the minimum. Big strong max minus, I'm not going to say. All right. Which was the biggest number? 9. So 9 minus negative 3. But we're working inside absolute value. So my answer has to be positive. So we work the problem first, and then we make it positive. So we keep, change, opposite, keep the absolute value bars. 9 plus 3 is, what's the absolute value of 12?
12.
So what's the distance?
12.
So if I start at negative 3, there are 12 jumps or 12 units between negative 3 and 9. Alright, negative 7.5 and negative 15.3. Which is the bigger number?
Or negative 7.5.
We're just talking about the number. Alright, negative 15.3 minus the smaller number, working inside the absolute value. Keep, change, opposite. What do you do with those numbers? Same signs are different.
They're different.
So 15.3 minus 7.5.
So the answer will be absolute value.
Yes. Absolute value bars work like parentheses. You do everything inside it first, then you take the absolute value of that. So 15.3 minus 7.5, next door, next door, next door. 14, 13. So what's the absolute value of negative 7.8? Alright, which one's bigger here?
The one.
So 1.5, take away negative 2/3. Keep, change, opposite. I have common denominators, and you have a mixed number and a fraction. So what do you have to do to the mixed number? You have to convert. We're going to stop because we don't have time to go through all that before the bell rings. Okay? But I think you kind of get the concept here. Put those notes up. Tomorrow we're going to do stations and review for your test because your test is on Friday.
Are we gonna do it like